So this is the Moment CineBloom Diffusion filter. I first found out these existed like last week. I was like scavenging YouTube at like midnight, and I had a video come up that was like, make your digital camera look like a film camera. And immediately I was intrigued because as some may know, I'm a photographer slash filmmaker. I mean, that's what it says in my bio, at least. And I've kind of recently switched to shooting 35mm. Now, I'm no pro at it. I'm just kind of learning what it is and how to shoot with it and whatnot. But I switched to that because I like the look of it, right? And so when I see that a filter can make my digital camera look like a film camera, naturally I'm a little intrigued. So I fall into this hole where I find out about Pro Mist filters and other brands of diffusion filters. I don't know how I didn't know these existed. I genuinely have no idea. But this is very new. And so I was really eager and I bought it like immediately, like pretty much on the spot. This was about like $70, $80, while the more popular Pro Mist, Tiffin Pro Mist filter is about like 100-ish. I went with this because it's new. I recently got the Moment variable ND so I could stack the filters, and I just wanted to try it out. You know, like I figured it'd be fun. So I had already planned to shoot with one of my friends who wanted me to take photos of her and her sister. So I figured this would be a perfect opportunity to try out this filter. I had originally planned to only shoot 35mm for this photography session, whatever, but I decided to do both because I was just super antsy to try out this filter. It had actually been like my first time in a long time taking portraits, like actually sitting down and taking portraits. I have been kind of falling into a hole of landscape and street photography for the past few months. And I've recently decided to take this sort of new approach to shooting digital and almost treat it like I'm shooting film, in that I don't look at the photos after I take them. I think this is a relatively popular way of taking digital photos. I'm not really sure, but I'm just still trying to, you know, find the perfect workflow that works for me. The shoot lasted for about an hour and a half-ish, I don't really remember. But it felt good to finally return to taking portraits again. I've always kind of considered myself a portrait photographer, so it was nice to go back to my roots and finally stick to something I've been a little more comfortable with over the years. But what the filter does that I love, sort of, is it's called the CineBloom filter, right? So that makes your photos look a lot more cinematic by taking away that sort of sharp feel to them, and also blooms the highlights. So after that, I was still really eager to use this filter. And so my friend and I, we decided to head into the town and shoot some more. I was honestly super happy with all the photos I got that day. And I wrapped up my night by heading to a shoot that the same friend was doing with another friend of ours. And I didn't even plan to really get any photos, but I ended up taking some of my favorite photos ever. The shoot was aimed to be this sort of punk rock type of vibe. The black and white that I ended up putting on the photos really just did it for me. I don't know, it's hard to break down why I love these photos so much. I think it kind of all does wrap back to the blooming highlights that you'll see in some of the pictures. I'm by no means sponsored or really in any position to be talking about this filter from Moment, but it's kind of thrilling to find something that could add to my daily photography routine or sort of gear that helps me make work that I want to make. Like I said, photographer and filmmaker is in my Instagram bio, but it still feels kind of weird to call myself a photographer and filmmaker when I still don't really know what I'm doing. And so like this, for example, yeah, I know the filter blooms the highlights and takes away some sharpness, but other than that, That's all I could really say about it. And I kind of just want my work to speak for itself in a sense, but I don't really know what I'm doing. And so I think that's the most important thing with all this, is that I'm constantly learning. And so in the short time that I've had this filter, it's done me good. I finally feel like I'm learning what my true style is, and it's sort of helping me push me in that direction. Anyways, that's enough rambling. If you guys did enjoy this, feel free to stick around the channel. Feel free to subscribe and like the video maybe, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Got it. I keep breathing on this thing. Look at him.
Stop breathing.